Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Maureen, and on this channel I share everything about homeschooling, our journey, things we've used, things we've liked, things we haven't liked, reviews, and just motherhood in general. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe so you can find out what we're doing next. And so in this video, I kind of specifically wanted to talk about second grade because I don't think I've made a video about second grade curriculum that we've actually used. And so this is, I just wanted to share some books that we did end up using cover to cover, front to back. And actually not just front to back, we ended up pulling it into our next grade too. And so I'm just gonna quickly share some books that were just winners in my mind. And one of them is this book. This is the Mammoth book, and if you guys seen my other videos, you know that I've used the first one too. And this one literally, like, here's what I do. I rip out the pages from it, and I take out units by units, and that way I see our progress, and we don't feel overwhelmed by how much we need to do. And we were using this as a guide to help us figure out, you know, where we're at in math, what things are sticking, what things are not sticking. And so this was, there's actually two books. There's 2A and 2B, and this is 2B. You know, so we've kind of worked through that, and this was a definite winner. We really liked the format. We liked that we could do as much as we want and as little as we wanted, because if an idea stuck around and was solid, we did not push it. We just moved forward. And I also like how this curriculum includes a very holistic way of teaching. Like, they go into geometry, they do a little bit of everything versus one topic and just diving deep into it. And so I think that gives for a more richer experience and a less stressful experience for my kid, at least. So that was Mammoth, and that was our math work. And for language arts, we've got some Evan Moore books here, and this is the Daily Language Review. And I liked this one because it was so short. Like, I'm gonna show you guys the first one. It looked like this, and basically it's so short that you could do it as a warm-up. And that was sometimes in the beginning of as our classes started and our school started, and me just getting situated with the kids, I could easily tell my second grader, go pull out your warm-up that was in your bin, and she could start working on that. And at least I have one kid going, and I could figure out what else is going on with the rest of the house. The other thing was that we felt like we wanted to focus a little bit on spelling, and so I got the spelling book, the Building Spelling Skills book. And basically it's really simple. There's read and spell words, and then over the course of the week, you do some activities with it, and as you do the activities, that spelling is meant to stick. And that worked for a lot of the words. It didn't for some, and for that I used this master list of spelling words. This is from K12reader.com. So just so you have that resource. And this is a great word list. These are spelling words by grade, and they divide it out into week. They actually have activities over there that you could print out and do with your kid. But I just needed to know the words, so I knew that, you know, if there was a specific word we were working on that week, I could easily, you know, use that to reinforce or you know, move past it and say that we already know this word, right? So this was a really cool resource for me. Another resource was the Writer's Toolbox book. And this is a really nice book by Nancy Lowen. I'm going to show you guys this thing. And it's by Picture Window Books, Capstone Publishers. This was a really nice book just to get into how to write, how fairy tales are written, how letters are written. So we could use this as a guide, and my daughter can read, so she would read it to herself, and sometimes she would share it with us, and we would be able to work together on it. So it's something that you could work independently on and make it a group project too. So, and the illustrations are really awesome. Like, I'll show you one right here. Like, you can see the illustrations. There you go. Here's another one. right? So it's just a really awesome book all in all, because it makes it very engaging, makes writing very engaging. And there are 6 projects in here. One is writing a fairy tale, writing your own letter, your own poem, a journal, and a scary story and research project. So I don't think we did the research project, but I think we tapped into the rest of them. And so this was a good resource for me to have, a fun book for her to read, because it's so colorful and well illustrated. So this was a really nice book for us to have. The next book I'm going to show you was kind of our spine, I want to say. We worked with lightning literature. This year, I was especially just absolutely loving literature and bringing literature into the classroom and using literature to teach not just grammar, punctuation, and all that, but just, how to write and how writers write, and, just the richness of literature, teaching lessons through literature. That was kind of a big thing for me. I felt like, I just love books. I love books. And so my love of books kind of seeps into my kids' ways of learning and the things that they like learning. And so my daughter loves, reading. And so this was a book that I could, this was a curriculum that I could kind of give to her and say, okay, well, let's get through this book. You're going to read this book, and we're going to do some activities based on that. So here's a list, of all the books that they had. In the beginning, it started out with a lot of picture books, and then towards, I want to say week 23, we kind of went into chapter books. And so that was really neat, because it progressed her reading content more and more. And by the end of it, she was reading Mr. Popper's Penguins, which I was pretty impressed about. So this was a really, really neat curriculum. I loved it. I absolutely adored it. We're actually planning on using the next one this year. Let's see how it goes. But what I loved about it was that we could, in the teacher's guide, the author gives us a lot of Elizabeth Cammett, her name is. She gives a lot of ideas on what to do with your child and what things you can bring with this lesson. And then you can choose to do what you needed to do. In the beginning, I'll tell you off the bat, my daughter did not like writing the little summaries or what did I think of the story and such. I'll show you one example right here, right? She was not into the what is the story about. She loves talking about it. She wasn't too into writing it. And then what did I think of the story? In the beginning, she would just write, "It's great." I was like, okay, let's go from there. And so we slowly started working on developing more words into our writing, and I think kind of that plays into writing more and figuring out spelling, which played a big part, because she was not confident in her spelling, so she felt like, I don't want to write it if I can't spell it. But then we made a rule saying, you know what, you don't have to spell it right, but just underline the word that you're not sure about and just keep moving. And so we worked on that, and then we'd come back to it and fix our spellings. And so this was a really nice book because it had everything packed in. Honestly, I would have days where I needed to do school on the sofa downstairs with both kids, or I had days where it was on the go, right? Because we still had a baby. Our baby was tiny, and he was very much part of our school and very much involved. And so in this stage, I felt like, you know what, with everything going on, I needed to simplify things into things that were effective and concise, and things I could work on in a very compact manner. And this worked for me. This worked really well for me. So I love lightning literature. It's by Hewitt Homeschooling. I'll try to put a link to their website where I got it. And I think I was first introduced to it by Tanya from a Project Happy Home. She had done a review on it, and so if you want to check out hers, you can. That was lightning literature. Loved it. Absolutely great program. Very holistic, very literature based. Lots in there. You get a lot from your money's worth, and so I really like that. The other thing that we kind of did on and off when we've been working through this maybe for 2 years now is the biology for the grammar stage. And I have no complaints about it because it's so well laid out and there's so many projects in here and there's so much richness in here that I didn't feel like we needed to finish it in 1 year. This is something that we would pick up like we did a loop system, and so every, I think I want to say Thursdays, every Thursday was science time. And so we would read from this spine book, right? This is the spine for that age, the Kingfisher's first encyclopedias. And so we'd read about a specific animal, and I think my girls loved doing projects with it. So they would read about it, and then they would go and they'd have certain questions and stuff, and they'd go do a little research, and I would monitor that because I wanted to make sure that I knew where they were going. And they would print pictures, and then they would take a poster board and they'd stick pictures on there. They'd write a little something about it, so there's copy work happening there, you know. And they would make a little presentation, and they do a little presentation in class, or they do a presentation to their dad or their friends and whatever. So this worked out really well for us because it was something that I could incorporate my kindergartner in as well. So this was a great one for us, and that is literally what I used. That is what I used. I know you guys are usually used to seeing me with like a giant stack of books, but if you notice, it's getting smaller and smaller. And so I'm realizing that you don't need to go shell out a whole bunch of money in order to, you know, have a successful school year. Find things that stick with you, that are working for you, or that are close to your heart, and just do it off of that. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is whether or not your kids enjoyed your lessons, whether it matters whether or not your kids develop those relationships with their family. It matters whether they're understanding that life is a growing journey, and that they're growing, their mom's growing, and they're all in this together, and that we're gonna go through this and we're gonna work it out. And so that was my little spiel. So I'm glad you guys hung out with us. We also had, I want to throw this in, we had one day of co-op, and where we would get together with a bunch of friends, and we would do, I think we do kiwi crates together. So that was like a STEM thing. And then another day of the week where in the morning they would do classes outside with a homeschooling group. So they would have, like, I think she did math and art history around the world or something like that. And so that was a fun little, you know, something outside, something where mom's not teaching them, but it's, you know, out in the open, and it's something that they can do with other teachers. So that was something fun for them. So they did that. And that's about it. And we did lots of painting. We did lots of painting, free painting, and then I think we also did, we got Waldorfish subscription, so we were working through that. So Waldorfish, I can't even say it right. Waldorfish was one, and then Mystery Science was another. Mystery Science was big for my kindergartner because she just loved all that science information and experiments and stuff, and she was just absorbing that. So it was nice for me to have her do that while I was working with the older one on something, so that worked out well. Or to have her work on a project while the other one was working on something else. And so we'd take turns and switch it around. But either way, so those were my top absolute, like, compact things that I did for second grade. All right, guys, this has been too long of a video. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please share with others so that others may benefit. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notification bell so that you know when my next video comes out. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.